everyone, welcome. Today I want to share with you some insights into the power and subtle effects of Vedic chanting. So this is actually something that can give us a great deal of joy. So I'm particularly excited to share this with you and hope that you will also enjoy and benefit from the same. So whenever we embark on any of these um, exchanges, it's useful to keep in mind who is the adhikari or the qualified one um, to whom these discussions and reflections will have maximum effect. So, as far as Vedic chanting goes, anyone who has faith in the Veda and who is drawn to the Veda and who is sincerely attracted to understand and then eventually preserve, protect, and nourish it is qualified to gain the benefits from this video. So, having concluded that, that will of course encompass all those who are of faith and born in the Hindu faith. Um, and the topic, as I said, is what are the benefits? What is the power of this Vedic chanting? Why is it so powerful? And what are its subtle effects? So, in order to understand that, we will have to understand some of the basic concepts in Hinduism, which is basically how is the human being formed? So, um, what are these things called? The Panch-Koshas, the five sheaths um, which compose the human being in their totality. So, this comes from the Taittiriya Upanishad, in fact, the Panch-Kosha theory. And it's not just a theory, but it can be experienced in practice. And that's again something about our Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism, is that this is an experiential philosophy. There is a great emphasis placed on anubhava, and so it is not just a philosophy in books, but it is something that each and every practitioner can directly experience. So now, what are these panchakoshas? First, there is something called Annamaya Kosha. You can think of these as the Russian dolls, one nested inside the other. The Annamaya Kosha is the exterior most, and it's the material sheath, the sheath of food. Inside that is Pranamaya Kosha, which we may speak of as the energetic sheath or the sheath of prana, the life force. Within that is the Manomaya Kosha, the sheath of the mind, composed of our sense organs, and added to that the Manas, which is the importer and exporter of sensations, and also composed in there are the Chitta Ahankar. And deeper within that, we have the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is the sheath of the Buddhi, which is sometimes mistranslated as intellect, but that's actually not a very precise translation of Buddhi. But at any rate, within that is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the sheath of joy. So somehow, Vedic chanting has the power to penetrate these sheaths and bring out this joy in us, provided the sheaths are somewhat purified to the extent that they allow these vibrations to access that core of joy. Now, what is the mechanism by which this happens, and what are the benefits? I'll talk about that. So we've talked a little bit about the Vishaya, and the next thing will be the Prayojana. So what will be the utility of listening to Vedic chanting or engaging in it? So actually, the power of Vedic chanting is so great that it is not an exaggeration to say that it benefits all humanity. But primarily, of course, it benefits the chanter or the listener. Right? And of these, I would rate the enjoyment of listening to be even greater than that of chanting. Its primary purpose is a cleansing purpose. So um, we say that the Ved being part of the Karma Kand, or rather the Karma Kand being a part of the Ved and chanting being a part of that, um, is a procedure of Chitta Shuddhi. So it purifies our mind, thereby making it prepared and ready for the step of Gyan Yoga, or the true wisdom, Brahma Gyan, which transcends and into which all actions culminate. Um, Sarva karma akhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. All actions have their culmination in wisdom, in knowledge, Brahmagyan. So therefore, it's very beneficial. And how does it work now? Um, Through the vibrations that we experience in Vedic chanting, there is a cleansing first of the Annamaya Kosh itself. That is a little harder to see in the early stages, but it does happen. Probably the easiest Kosh sheath in which to see the power of Vedic chanting is the Pranayama. And this is because of a very, pardon me, particular way in which the Veda has been designed that allows this. First of all, as you know, the Veda is in Sanskrit, um, and the very Varna, um, the very alphabet of Sanskrit, is so carefully constructed as to stimulate various parts of the body. If you want to get a good introduction to this and the power of Sanskrit, the Vyoma Sanskrit brothers, Sri Venkatesh and Sri Vishwanath, have given a very nice description of how Sanskrit shloka itself has a great power and in purifying and uplifting us. I'll talk a little bit beyond that to the context of thinking about pranayam, its relation to chanda or meter, and how it actually relates to the various chakras and the role of swara, which is very important to Vedic chanting, which is absent in other stotra shloka chanting. So the Vedic chant has, as I said, one is the very syllables themselves, which come from the aksharas, and so they are combinations of um, consonants and vowels, and they have a role. They are situated in different parts of the body, and they have a role in stimulating the physical body in particular ways. But these syllables are also uttered with a certain cadence or a meter or a rhythm, and we call that chandaha. That chandaha has the power and the effect of regulating the breath, and so effectively it corresponds to an energy vibration. It's a punctuation of energy vibration. And so we have various chandas, um, Gayatri, Ushnak, Anushtup, Brihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati. So each of these is designed um, by the rishis and of course revealed to them in a way to have a certain, to accomplish a particular purpose. So when the Vedic chant is chanted properly, with respect to the chandas, with respect to the hrasva dirgha, short and long, with the ucharan correct, then it accomplishes this purpose. And again, I will refer to a very nice set of videos by the GRD Ayers group. I believe the principal person there is Ramesh Natarajan. He has explained all these aspects of Vedic chanting in quite a bit of detail. And I encourage you to review that if you have a chance. Now, now that we understand that these vibrations, because of their particular cadence, stimulate the pranamaya kosh in a particular way, but they also have a relationship to the chakras, which we know from tantra and yoga. So the human body, these the prana flows through nadis, and these nadis congregate in particular centers called chakras, and they can be accessed in meditation. And again, as I said, this experience is not beyond the sincere aspirant. Now, these chakras are going upwards: Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, um, Anahata, Vishuddhi, and Agya, and thereon to Sahasrara. Now, what is not sometimes understood is that these chakras, of course, correspond to both colors and sounds. Um, and here the emphasis will be on the sound. So, we know from music that we talk about the saptaswaras, the seven notes. And starting from what we would call samam, tonic, the bass note, say sa, all the way to the higher sa. So, These seven swaras, the lower size sometimes conceptualized as Jivatma and the higher size conceptualized as Paramatma. And these swaras, in fact, correspond to the chakras. So we can think of Sa starting at Muladhar, Re at Swadhisthana, etc. And they also have a relationship to the swaras in, say, Yajurveda chanting, where, for instance, we have the Udata, Anudata, and Svarita. So, as the energy, as the tone and pitch of the chanting changes, it stimulates the different chakras in such a way as to uplift our consciousness. And that is why progressively we are able to experience the core joy of that Anandamaya Kosha. So, as I mentioned, this might give you some insight into why Vedic chanting is so beneficial. Um, there are some very good chants of the Yajurved done, which are available on YouTube, and also of Udaka Shanti, etc., which are very nice to listen, and we'll provide some links that might be nice for you to experience. But I should emphasize that the best way to experience Vedic chanting is in person. There is no substitute for sitting down in person with a group of qualified priests and listening to their chant. However, online and YouTube give us some glimpse of that beauty, and eventually it may inspire one to learn this and qualify in it, and thus spread the joy. So again, the sambandh of what we've been talking about is listen and purify, learn and purify, and eventually preserve and protect, but also nourish and spread the light and joy of the Vedas to the world. Namaste.